University of Cincinnati Bearcats are with us next. They are the number 2 seed in the South region. They are the American Athletic Conference regular season and tournament champions. They will play number 15 seeded Georgia State Friday's first game at 1 o'clock. The men's basketball contact is Andre Fauser. Questions for the three gentlemen from Cincinnati? Start off right here. Thank you.
Shannon Russell, The Athletic. Gary, you guys are ranked 9th in the country in blocks. How critical do you think that is to your defense? And is it something that's just innate in you guys, or is it something that you really try to focus on?
I think we really focus on it. Our big guys definitely take pride in the blocking shots. Cal's always yelling at the guards not to foul low, because it takes away a block. Most of them are the easier blocks that we probably could get if they don't foul. But it's one of those things where if our guards get beat, we got to be help side, ready to rotate and block shots.
Bill Cook from GoBearcats.com. For Kyle and Gary, Mick mentioned yesterday that you guys thought about the loss to UCLA last year all summer and all season long. Was he overstating the case, or how much have you thought about that, and how much of a motivation is that now?
Kyle, you're first, please.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely a correct assessment. I mean, we were very disappointed about that, but I think with our loss and the defeat that we felt over the summer, I think it taught us how to win. I thought it taught us how to prevail. So, and it brought us together. It made us a more cohesive unit. So I'm just excited for this year, and we're just going to keep on playing together.
I agree. It takes a while to get rid of that one. To play so well, the first half, and then, to run out of gas the second half. I think, like Cal said, it really taught us how to win as a unit. A lot of guys, that was on that team are still here. So, it always plays in the back of our heads, and as we get ready for, the tournament to start again, we just going to keep pushing.
Terry Nelson, something on WLW. What's up, guys? What's up, Jacob, a couple years ago, you had a coming out party versus St. Joe's. What do you look forward to coming for this tournament? And for the other two of you up here, Kyle and Gary, this is your last time around. What also do you look forward to in this last tournament that you're going to be in?
We'll start with Jacob, then go to Kyle and Gary in that order.
I just look forward to coming out here, playing with these two. It's their last go-round. I just want to try to make it special for them. I know how much it means to them that if we have a nice run in this tournament. And also, I just want to send them out the right way, especially Gary. He's been here for 4 years, had an awesome career. And even Kyle, he's come change the vibe around our program and just have us in a positive mood all the time.
Yeah. Just to have fun, but to win at the same time. I think those two ideas need to go hand in hand. Because it's a huge stage, and you want to execute and make sure you move on to the next round, but you should have fun with it too. Because like I said before, who gets the chance to do this every day? We're extremely blessed. And going off of what Jacob said also, we just want to go out the right way, because we put a lot into it, and all three of us have put a lot into it, but all the guys in the locker room have put a lot into it, so that's what we want to do.
Yeah, going off what both of them said, you want to go out the right way. Definitely each year was a different letdown as far as, freshman year, how we went down. It's just so on each year. To have this kind of unit going into it this year, really confident, excited. You gotta have fun with it for sure. And we're definitely blessed to have this opportunity. Me for myself, being able to make it every year. I still see friends at other institution that have never gone. They've just been able to fill out a bracket. So to be a part of it, guys texting you and family members texting you, telling you, rooting for you, you just gotta, feel good to be able to get to this every year. But for us, we want to not just get here, just go further.
Gary and Kyle, just to follow up what you said before about learning how to win from that UCLA loss, what kind of things did you learn about winning? What's different? Can you just be more specific about what you learned?
I think that UCLA loss taught us something different about winning. But I think a lot of the disappointment that we saw last year, I mean, we went 30-6, so people might ask what disappointment, but we wanted to check off some benchmarks that we did do this year in terms of winning the conference outright during the regular season, but then winning the conference tournament. I thought the loss to SMU in the championship of the conference tournament taught us something, and then not getting the outright conference title during the regular season taught us something. I think every different type of failure, and this translates to different messages in life too. When you fail in something in life, that's what you learn from that, or it's going to happen again. So I think not just one thing in the UCLA game, but across that whole year last year, we learned how to how to win.
I agree. You think back to our losses last year. A lot of them were down to the last play or malfunction somewhere, and then this year we've been able to execute down the stretch, not to give up, easy buckets and foul or turnovers. And this year we've been able to just stay on the throttle, on teams at times when we really are, pouring it on. And I think what Kyle said, every loss last year, we looked at ourselves and watched film and realized, the things that we have to do to change, to win, come out victorious and instead of losing.
Follow-up question. The AAC conference tournament and the NCAA tournament, does that put you on two different sets of routines that you would have to have on a normal basis? And also, that's the first question. Second one is probably for you, Jacob. How do you block out social media during this time, or do you read it and sort of go through it, but when everybody's asking you to do or score a certain amount of points in order to be successful, how do you answer that, or how do you deal with it?
Kyle, take the first question, and Jacob will talk about the social media part.
What's your first question again, Terry?
It's about routines. Do you have to continue the same routines opposed to the conference tournament?
I don't think you should change up your routine. I think this is from personal experience. This is my fourth tournament, so I don't think you should change up routines. I think that'll kind of psych your mind out. And I'm just going to go off of the message that I sent earlier about having fun. You have to have fun with this game, else you're going to get burnt out, and you're going to think of other negative thoughts, and that's not what you should do. You should go into the game saying this is a bigger game on a bigger stage, but it's basketball at the end of the day. So I think that's what you should go. That's your mindset going into it.
And to answer your question, it's social media. I'm a young kid, so of course I read it, but I don't let it get to me. Like whatever they say, like I'm having a bad game. I just try to stay confident in myself, and I know my teammates, they have my back, so I never try to get down on myself no matter what they're saying on social media. And I know what it takes to win. This is my third year here, and I've won a pretty good number of games here, so I think I know what I'm supposed to do on the court.
Tom Gresham, Cincinnati Enquirer. Jacob, you and the team as a whole, the last few games, obviously you're winning, but the offense hasn't been quite in sync. The shooting percentages are down. You yourself not scoring like usual. How do you guys get that back? Is there anything you specifically or the team have been working on, and how important is that to get that back?
We just back to the basics, taking our time, shot preps, and just making sure that we're reading the defense the right way, trying to stay away from hard, contested shots, and just moving the ball. We have enough talent on this team to where when we share the ball, then we can score, So I feel like we've gotten back to that these last couple of days in practice, and we're just going forward and also remain confident in ourselves.
Charlie Goldsmith, SB Nation. Gary, so earlier this week, Coach Ron Hunter of Georgia State said, they're eating at Ruth Chris, we're eating at Wendy's, they're staying at the Hyatt, we're staying at Comfort Inn. But is it strange to see how the perception around this program has changed over the last 4 years?
Since I've been here, we've always been blue collar. I've never had Ruth Chris, as a thing. So I'm not sure where that came from, but we're the Bearcats, all year, every year I've been here, we've always been, on the other end of that perception. So it's different for me to hear it, but kind of as a unit, we just we don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, and we just we focus on our task every game, and to go out and just dominate, suffocate teams, and just try to come out victorious.
Anything else for the student athletes of Cincinnati? Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. You're dismissed, and best of luck. Thank you. We have a few minutes. I'll be down. The head coach of the Bearcats is Mick Cronin. We're going to ask him to open up with a statement about being in Nashville, and then we will take questions. Mick, please.
Well, it's good to be in Nashville. Just got to see Brad, the former SID at Austin P, talking about some old racer Austin P battles. But our team's excited to be here. Obviously, our focus is on Georgia State, and hopefully we've got our batteries recharged from an emotional last couple of weeks that our team's had, and got our mind on the NCAA tournament. So probably good for us to get back out of town as fast as we could, with everybody so excited, telling our guys, good job, good job. Good job's not always the best thing to hear when you're trying to keep your team sharp. So we got to get back out here and start over, and we're ready to get going. So any questions?
Start right here.
Shannon Russell, The Athletic. Mick, Ron Hunter talked a little bit about his relationship with you, and you've mentioned it before with the RJ tie-in. When was the last time you really had a chance to sit down and talk to him, and what is your relationship like with Ron?
Oh, we're getting older, both of us. I'm not sure how long it's been when we met, but back being close, Cincinnati and IUPUI running into each other. Obviously I'm aware. I'm younger, so I'm aware he played at Miami of Ohio, but I don't really remember watching him. Of course, games weren't on TV that much back then, but probably more so when I was up there recruiting in Indianapolis. I saw him a lot when I was at Pike High School games. And it became a running joke that to stay away from RJ. But it was neat because, it was funny, as I was the one guy that I saw in RJ, that guy had a chance to be a great player. And you had to ignore that he wasn't the biggest kid in the gym. But like I told Ron, I'm partial to kids that are dads or coaches because I was one of them. I just wasn't near as good as RJ. So anyway, and it's been on from there. Ron and I, we share the same agent. So we've talked quite a bit over the years about different things. But, we run into, most of us all in this business, we see each other on the recruiting trail. Well, one guy's running into a gym at Cheyenne High School in Las Vegas, and another guy's running out to go to the Cashman Center to see a different tournament. He has done I'm happy for him because he's found a home at Georgia State, and he's done such a tremendous job there.
Charlie Goldsmith, SB Nation. So earlier this week, Coach Hunter gave a little comment about Ruth Chris and Wendy's and the Hyatt and the Comfort Inn. With regards to that, he said they ate at Wendy's, you eat at Ruth Chris.
I ate at the Montgomery Inn. Have you ever been to Cincinnati?
I'm from Cincinnati,
So
Coach.
which would you go to, Montgomery Inn or the Boathouse?
Montgomery Inn
Of course.
for the radio show.
We need to take Ron there.
I was going to say, it was strange to see how the perception on your program's changed. This puts you in a different light, how he said he was seeing you.
No, I think, hey, look, all that stuff's fun. Ron's good with the mic. I don't know if it's getting him any endorsements in Atlanta, but I hope so. I don't really pay much attention to all that stuff. As far as, our program, Coach Huggins, what did he come back in '89, Bill? So, I think by '91 we were in the Final Four, and he elevated our program back to national prominence, and so around that time, and it's kind of been that way ever since, despite the change in conferences that we've had, and it's my job to keep it there.
Question here on the right next, Mick.
Coach Terry Nelson, 700 WLW, how you doing?
Good to see you as always, my friend.
A lot of hype around Bearcats and Virginia's defense, deservedly so, but this is a pretty good defensive team in Georgia State as well. What kind of problems do they pose? Having not a lot of height, that is.
The turnovers, they create over 14 a game. And that's been something that's caused us problems. And I'm a big believer, as you know, in turnover margin is the biggest key statistic that's not talked about. If you hear me talk at a basketball clinic, that's what people ask me about defense. I'll talk to them about turnover margin. It's just sheer numbers. You're going to get more shots than your opponent. The other problem with turnovers, which Georgia State does a good job creating, is then points off turnovers, transition baskets that you can't set your defense. It eliminates your scouting report defensively. We're much harder, just like they are, much harder to score on teams 5-on-5. So they do a great job, as good as any college team I've ever seen, and Ron's obviously teaching it with the Karl Malone. Remember that Karl Malone would play post defense, and he'd wait. And as soon as you turn, he'd strip you. Because of their lack of size at certain positions, they're excellent at it. And Kenyon Martin, our own Kenyon Martin, became excellent at it as well as an NBA player. And they just do a tremendous job stripping the basketball defensively. And that's something that's a big concern for us because it can eliminate your height advantage.
Therese Walker, the Associated Press. Mick, you're in town. Xavier's in town. You're in separate brackets, different. You've got the first game tomorrow. They've got the night session. What kind of atmosphere are you expecting tomorrow? You expect some fans traveling, or maybe see some Xavier people coming early just to maybe boo?
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll tell you. I have Xavier friends, and so all it did was add to my ticket request because they want to come to both sessions. So, I'm dead serious on that. So it's cost me money, to be honest with you, because a couple of guys that I owe favors to that are big Xavier boosters, but are friends of mine. So it's going to end up costing me $400 or $500, them being in the same bracket as us, having to buy extra tickets for them. But I will get it back this summer somehow.
Bill Cook, GoBearcats.com. You know that Georgia State's going to try to spread you out with their three-point shooting. You faced teams that have tried that earlier in the year. How have you tried to contend with that, and what kind of success have you had?
Well, I think like anybody, it's causes you problems at times, and it has for us. Whether it was Cleveland State, whether it was Tulsa, whether it was Memphis in the first half in the conference tournament, it's a challenge that when teams play small, they're going to do it because they're going to play more shooters, and the bigger you are, the more it puts pressure on your defense. You got to cover out at the three-point line with bigger guys. So we've seen it, but that doesn't mean we're going to be able to deal with it. So we've had some days here to practice, but we'll have no excuse because it's not like we haven't had time to practice. And like you said, we've seen it from multiple teams. Even Houston's a great shooting team. So that being said, I think that they do a great job of spreading you out, but they also have Simons, who's a big-time player, not just a scorer. He can pass, too. So it all starts with him, because if he gets one-on-one coverage, he scores, he gets fouled, he gets layups. Then you start to leave their shooters, and he finds their shooters. So he's a concern. He's as good as anybody we've played against since Trayvon Blewett.
Hey, Coach. Ty Richardson, Nashville Sports Radio. You mentioned at the beginning that you don't want your team to get complacent with winning the American Athletic Conference, and you sometimes, like when they hear thank you a lot, that can hurt a team. How do you balance that with your team being hot at the right time?
Well, I agree with you on that. You want to be playing well, and you want to have momentum. I think momentum's a good thing in any sport. And guys believing, I think you got to go into a tournament believing that you have a chance to win the tournament. It helps if you really believe that. Then I think your commitment level will be higher instead of just being in the tournament, being happy to be in the tournament. So that's one. But two, I think my job's been to focus our guys on putting those trophies in the trophy case and getting back to staying alive here. And to be honest with you, trying to make sure we just worry about winning Friday. I think our guys aren't, I don't know our seedings, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, stuff like that. We haven't been a 2 seed. So, it's a new one. So we've always been really focused on the first game because we're really kind of been playing another team from a conference like ours. So with this situation, it's been a huge concern of mine, making sure my guys don't look past the first round, that they realize that Ron Hunter's won tournament games, that the Sun Belt's won 2 of their last 3 first-round games.
Stay right here.
You mentioned yesterday about your players thinking about the UCLA game last year, and I asked a couple of them about that, and they said that was true. They said they learned from that. They learned how to win. What did they learn from that, do you think, that has helped them win this year or helped them this season?
Yeah, well, we talked a lot about one, you can't get whatever our game plan may be, you can't get away from it, which we did in the second half of that game. Two, we practiced all summer on being in better shape, being in better condition, and trying to be a better transition team. And the last piece is to be, and I've talked about this all, be a deeper team. So when you get into a high-level game, and Georgia State starts making shots back and forth, and it starts to become a back-and-forth game, you got to be able to keep pace with another team when they're making those kind of shots. Because everybody's capable. Memphis did it to us, and they were awesome in the first half of that game. And we talked about being able to raise the level of our game when the time comes and we have to play at a high level or we're going to lose. That everybody's not going to come out be confused by your defense. They're not going to have a bad night. So in that game, UCLA took it to a level, and we didn't go up there with them. When the game went to a certain level, we A, got away from our game plan, and then B, we didn't stay up at that level with them. And I showed them the film on it too. Fatigue was a part of it. So we've worked, that's why I wanted to schedule them this year, and then talk about it all summer, and just keep, because not that it was, the focus wasn't just on that game. It was what do we need to do to be able to be a very high level team.
How did that loss affect you personally? Would it take you a long time to get over that, or?
All losses affect me.
That one was no different?
Not really, no. Look, what you got to say in my job, you beat yourself up for a while, then you have to say, in that game, who on my team would have started for UCLA last year? And then after about 30 seconds, I answered that question, I went and played golf.
We have 3 minutes left in this session. Next question's right here.
Mick, your three-point defense is one of the best in the country. Which player do you think is really the catalyst of that, that needs to be playing well in that regard for you guys to really lock down from long range?
That's really, I can't give you a single guy in that, because they have multiple teams that shoot the ball well. It's because they do it with multiple players. So if they only have one shooter, you just deny him. Everybody deny him. And the way we play defense, we change our coverage a lot. So I think the key for us all year has been focus on our game plan. We're a big game plan team. We're a game plan specific. And then what I would finish that answer with is we've shown the ability to get better defensively as games go on, and take, just like we talked about in previous answers, if you need to take, if a team's really hitting hard shots and a guys gets it going, you have to be able to step it up and play unbelievable defense with unbelievable effort, and not just hope a guy misses and almost just force misses, force turnovers. We've been able to do that a lot this year. That's why we have the record we have.
Okay, Mick, thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Nevada is up next at 12:35.
All right, my friend.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Yep.